It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160 and 101.1 FM, and we're on the line with Wade Phillips. He is the author of the book Son of Bum, Lessons My Dad Taught Me About Football and Life. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Wade, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us. Now, you're talking to us from Houston, Texas. Of course, we're in Steeler country here, and everything runs through that Steeler filter. And Houston, Texas, and Pittsburgh, why, the Oilers and the Steelers have a great big history, and your dad was a big part of that, wasn't he?
Yeah, those were some fun times. Not fun on our end as far as the championship games, but fun to play against the great teams that Pittsburgh had.
And you, in fact, began your career as a coach on your dad's staff there in Houston, yes?
I did, yeah. I was with the Oilers at that time.
Your dad and Chuck Noll had a great amount of respect for him. In fact, your dad had a really good relationship with the fans in Pittsburgh, too, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, I mean, after he retired, he went to Pittsburgh and talked at a few banquets. I mean, it was a great rivalry, but it was a friendly rivalry, if you can say that. I mean, the games were really tough against each other, and both teams wanted to win, but had a lot of respect for each other.
I would guess that as you began to write your book, Lessons My Dad Taught Me About Football and Life, those are the sorts of things that would really help to inform you about the way that you wanted to approach coaching as well, with that sort of respect that Chuck Noll had for your dad and your dad had for him.
That's exactly right, yeah. It's still a game, and you still want to have fun. You still want to. Everybody wants to win, but you still want to have fun with what you're doing. And if you love what you're doing, well, you can sure have fun with it.
You pack your book full of all kinds of stories about your dad and about you and your coaching career. What was it about the way that your dad approached life and coaching that really took a hold of you and helped you to form your coaching philosophy?
Attitude, he had a great attitude about life. He enjoyed every day. He looked forward to every day, and he enjoyed every day. So, I think that's the big part of it. The coaching part, obviously, he knew a lot of football. He taught me a lot of football. Just being around him by osmosis, I got some. So he was fun to be around. There's not going to be another coach on the sideline with a cowboy hat and boots, so he was his own person.
Hey, is it true that a couple of years ago when the Rams came to town, you actually wore your dad's cowboy hat here?
I did, yeah, I sure did. I did for the Super Bowl when we played in the Super Bowl too, in Super Bowl 50 and Super Bowl 53 with the Rams, Super Bowl 50 with Denver. Yeah.
Oh, your coaching career as a head coach and now as one of the most revered defensive coaches in NFL is certainly, it stands on its own aside from what your dad was able to do with you. But he really helped you to learn exactly what defense was all about, didn't he?
He did. I worked with him earlier. I worked with him in college some, and then when I got in the pros with him, we were the first team to run the 3-4 defense full time. So in NFL history, so that I learned from him.
Yeah, I was thinking about you and your teams down through the years, and of course one of the great games for your team was your playoff run where you beat the Steelers and then played the Patriots the next week. Tell us a little bit about playing that Steeler game. That was a Roethlisberger-led team, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. We had a great team and a great defensive team, especially to beat Roethlisberger, Brady, and then Cam, the MVP of the league. In those 3 games to win the Super Bowl was phenomenal, and we just had some great players. That Pittsburgh beat us during the regular season, and then of course Antonio Brown didn't play in the playoff game, which was a big help.
Yeah. Well, that always is. You as a coach, you got to take advantage of that. I remember reading one part of the book where you were talking about, years ago, the difference a quarterback can make when Swan and Stallworth were out of the Steelers lineup for 4 or 5 games, and the backups, Terry Bradshaw is a great quarterback, the backups were actually leading the league in receiving. A great quarterback makes a great difference.
Oh yeah, and we've seen that through the years with Roethlisberger and Tom Brady and all the great ones.
So
Peyton Manning.
So as we think about your coaching career, you've had more than a little bit of contact. You have coached some of the greats of all time. On the defensive side of the football, who are those guys who really stand out to you that when you're coaching, you think to yourself, that this new guy on my team plays like that guy from the past that was really great and has that sort of potential? Who are those big guys that you coach that really stand out to you?
Well, when I first started with the Oilers, we had some great players. I mean, Curly Culp, the nose guard, is in the Hall of Fame. Elvin Bethea in the Hall of Fame, and then Robert Brazil, the linebacker, just went in the Hall of Fame. So we had 3 great players there. But at Philadelphia, I coached Reggie White. He was a pretty good player.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Smith. I'm just off the top of my head. Bruce Smith at Buffalo. Lately I coached, of course, Von Miller, Marcus Ware, J.J. Watt, Aaron Donald. So,
well, yeah, you've got Aaron Donald now, and he's a pit boy,
Yeah, he sure is, and he's a great human being and a great player.
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because you and your dad and his legacy as well, you don't just identify guys of great character, but you help them to develop that character and to become really upstanding men. Aaron Donald is one of those, and his family helped him to develop into the kind of guy that he is. But that sort of legacy of what a coach can do to help a young man become a really great, outstanding citizen, it's pretty special relationship, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, it's coach to player is a lot closer than some mentor to some mentor. It's more like a mentor than a coach, I guess. You're in close relationships, and those relationships are what make it fun to coach.
Yeah. Now, you started on your dad's staff. Your son is actually a coach in the NFL now, too.
That's right. The Phillipses and the Shulas are the only third-generation NFL coaches, so that's we're pretty proud of that.
Wow. That's just amazing. So as a coach who can look at his son who is coaching, and you know how much pressure a son can have from a very successful coaching father. What are some of the things that stand out about him and his approach to it?
Well, he's his own man. Now he coaches on offense, so we call him the black sheep of the family. But he's a great coach. I got to look at it from both sides. I got to coach with my dad, and my dad was kind of my hero, certainly, and the books about him. But I saw it from that side, and then to be the other way around and coach with my son. I know how proud I am of him, so I kind of feel now that my dad was kind of proud of me. So it's a great feeling to be on both sides of that.
We are talking this morning with Wade Phillips, who has written the book Son of Bum: Lessons My Dad Taught Me About Football and Life. But when you sat down to write this book, I'm sure you had much, much more material than you could fit into one book. What were some of the motivations behind keeping your dad's legacy alive like this?
I wanted to honor my dad, certainly, and I think that was a big part of it, although, and I wanted people to remember him, or to know about him, because as time passes, that happens. So, because they didn't have, they don't have coaches with, boots and hats on the sideline anymore. And he was a unique person, and he had a lot of great things. All his players loved him, and they played really hard for him. So I just wanted to convey that to people.
And you certainly have done it. Son of Bum, Lessons My Dad Taught Me About Football and Life. For folks who want to learn more, is there a website or a Facebook page or some other site that they can go to learn more about the book?
Yeah, I think you can just go to any, Amazon or any of those things, and they have a synopsis of the book. So
yeah,
any of those places. And then when they get the book and read it, I'm on Twitter at Son of Bum, and let me know how they liked it or ask questions or whatever.
Beautiful,
fun.
Beautiful, absolutely.
Give some people something to do.
Yeah, well, in this day and age,
that's right.
We might be saying something, anything, but this will be a great thing, and it's a wonderful read. Wade Phillips, thanks for being with us this morning.
You bet. I enjoyed it. Yeah, Pittsburgh, they got great fans. They really do. And Joe Green comes to all the Houston Oilers reunions.
Well, does he really?
Oh yeah, because I'm telling you, it was a different rivalry. I mean, my dad gave Terry Bradshaw a pair of boots before a game that we were playing them. Now, I've never heard of anything like that. So it's a pretty neat relationship between the Oilers, the old Oilers, and the Steelers. So,
well, yeah,
I enjoyed that.
It's been a long time since I'm recalling this incident, but wasn't there one where the Oilers players sent the Steelers watches or something like that for helping them to get into the playoffs, or was it the other way around?
It was the other way around. We beat Cincinnati the last game of the year. They put the Steelers in the playoffs, and they sent us Samsonite luggage. They were doing commercials for them or something, but they sent us Samsonite luggage and briefcases for the coaches, and that kind of started that friendly rivalry, I guess, and they went on to win the Super Bowl that year. So they were really thankful.
Well, yeah, without you guys, they didn't send you Super Bowl rings, though, did they?
No, they didn't. But we always admired them because they had great teams and they were good guys.
The book is called Son of Bum, Lessons My Dad Taught Me About Football and Life. Wade Phillips has been kind enough to spend some time with us. Wade, thanks so much. Have a great day.
You bet. You too. Thanks. Stay safe. Stay safe.